As you've been watching our lessons about prepping artwork for rigging and thinking about designing characters for rigging, you may be asking yourself, well, that's all great, but what if I just get handed a character that wasn't necessarily designed for rigging? Or what if I have to use a character from a stock image website that, again, wasn't necessarily set up for rigging and animation? Well, this exercise is going to give you a chance to try out some of the skills you'll need to deal with those situations. The first part of your exercise is going to be this hipster guy here. Now, we've actually done a bunch of the work here, so you're actually just going to be finishing this one here. So we've done a few things. For one thing, we've got the markers already plotted out where the joints are, and we do have all of the face pieces already separated for you and named. And the reason we did that was just because it would really be too painful an assignment to ask you to pull apart such a complex textured image. And this character, of course, was actually created in layers, so it was never flattened to begin with. But we've gone ahead, aside from giving you the separated face pieces, we've gone ahead and flattened the body here. So we're sort of simulating what would happen if you downloaded a raster character from a stock website or were delivered a character by an illustrator that was already flattened and the illustrator didn't have the layered files. It's very rare that an illustrator, even if they do keep separated layers, it's very rare for them to separate the layers in a way that's useful for rigging and animation. They're going to have separated the layers to make it easy to create the image, not so much to rig and animate. So you, even in those cases where they're going to deliver you files with some layers, you're most likely going to have to do a lot of Photoshop work to get it ready for this process. But what you're going to need to do is complete prepping this character for animation. So you're going to have to separate out all of these body parts. You're going to have to create the circular overlaps, give them their correct names, and put them in the correct order. So that'll be the first part of your assignment. The second part of your assignment will take place in Illustrator. Here we have the female counterpart to our stylish businessman. And this is actually the way we found the character on Shutterstock, and this is the way it was delivered in terms of its layers. Just random, just the individual pieces separated, but not in any way set up for animation. First of all, she is posed. Even this arm is not completely straight. It's bent and pulled out just a little bit. And there's no circular overlaps here. You can see that. And the legs are just one piece. That's just one triangle, basically, making both legs. So there's a lot of work to be done here. And just to show you the kind of transformation you need to make, let's take a look at where we started from with the suit man. He began also as just a group of crazy layers here, and you can see also that he was partially posed with an arm bent and the cell phone up in his hand, and this arm posed a little bit. And to get him ready for rigging and animation, we of course transformed him into this. And you can see some things changed. You saw those shoulders kind of shift a little bit because we had to pull those out to make them work better with his suit there. We straightened the arms. We divided the legs, of course, and created circular overlaps where we could. Notice that we also took this foot that was facing forward and duplicated the other foot to put them parallel. This is so the character can walk. Now, if the character didn't have to walk, then I would probably keep these feet. Or if the character had to do both and you really liked this pose, and it is charming the way the little foot is turned out, you could keep this foot and you could actually rig it so you could switch between this foot and the other foot if you wanted to. But we didn't go for anything that complicated here. We just did a really straightforward prep for simple rigging and animation. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take this lady here and you're going to prep her into something just like this. Once again, with all the layers separated, remember they have to be top level layers if they're going to be animated or manipulated. And you have to make sure and follow the naming convention as well. And the woman, her little code is K. That is her character letter. So you're going to want to start all of the names of her layers with K. So this will be a great way for you to practice prepping and just kind of go through the process and utilize your Photoshop and Illustrator skills to get these characters all ready to go. Now, both of these characters really just require basic Illustrator and Photoshop work. In this case, it's just going to be editing anchors and paths and shapes. And in the case of our raster character, you're going to be using the clone stamp tool, the liquify tool, different selection tools, and so forth. If you need help with any of those Photoshop or Illustrator basics, watch the little tutorial we put together that covers just basic image manipulation in Photoshop and Illustrator. Once you're done with your 2 exercises, check your work by comparing them to the finished files that we've provided.